Okay, let's come to now. Do you know what? I didn't know which to pick. Ray Kurzweil, Rapture of the Nerds. You've got a choice on that one.
They go together, hand in glove.
Oh, definitely. Well, Rapture of the Nerds is the amusing, tongue-in-cheek description of the Singularity. That it's a comment which is, I will there's a definite touche there, that just as very devout Christians will talk about the rapture and how it's just around the corner and everything will be wonderful afterwards. There is a subset of the singularitarian community that pretty much talks about the singularity the same way. That it's something that's just around the corner, and oh boy, it'll be absolutely wonderful. And so I think that quip has a certain sting to it and helps illuminate some of the similarities of the emotional response that people have to the singularity.
Yeah, I mean, the singularity would seem to promise some of the things that religion promises to people, which is immortality and eternal life in a heavenly place, which would probably be online, although it could be a vastly improved Earth environment or space and so forth. So, the idea of the singularity may be meeting these same kinds of thirst for transcendence of fleshly contradictions that religion has met.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, this is that transcendence is a good word, and that does help excuse the title of the book there. I mean, this is obviously something that I believe is pretty much inherent in humans, and often you'll see it in religion, of course, the religious impulse that there's something beyond human life, there's something beyond death. Also, there's a lot of it in politics, the idea that, hey, we're going to create the new Soviet man, and then the Soviet Union will, end poverty and oppression, and so on. It's the same. It was a secular version of that urge to transcend, the promise of a future utopia, and to an extent, the belief in the singularity, I think, is a very similar utopian urge, which doesn't necessarily mean it's wrong, but I think it's important that we recognize that the emotions that powered the religious and political versions of this are pretty much the same emotions that are that are in this particular technological version.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that there are two different narratives or lines of thought in transhumanism, and one of them is the improved human being, and the other one is, the improved human being, or the improved post-human being. The other one is the perfected human being, or the perfected post-human. And I think the Rapture of the Nerds is kind of a comedic line to that pushes people towards looking at transhumanists and singularitarians as believers in the idea of the perfected human being. And I think that, maybe if you polled transhumanists, maybe 20-25% of them really believe in the perfected human being, and singularitarians are probably a lot more, because once you go through this point, then things could possibly turn out to be wonderful beyond our greatest imaginings. But that's what Rapture of the Nerds. Rapture of the Nerds kind of hangs a sign around all transhumanism. That'll be one of my. I love I love the line, but it'd also be one of my critiques of a number of science fiction writers who don't really look at what goes on in transhumanism very carefully, and prefer to believe that all people who subscribe to this idea subscribe to the idea of the perfected human.
Yeah. And we touched on Kurzweil. I mean, Kurzweil works with Google now. Is that seriously important?
Yes.
So, yeah. So it's like, and so you look at Larry Page being influenced by Kurzweil, and he said that it's like they've got money, they're investing in these life extension businesses. They've bought DeepMind, which is a learning algorithm, 400 million they paid for it. So you start to see that there's some big business people involved in a lot of these areas. So even though Rapture of the Nerds, do you know what it does? And you pair are fantastic. It brings it to a level of just pointing and just going, yeah, if you're going to say that, then realise they've said that before. They've been saying that for 2,000 years over there. Do you know what I mean? And it just points a little bit, which I like that. So we're going to move in. We're going to move into the final stretch.
Yeah, I would also just add that there's a science fiction novel called Rapture of the Nerds by Cory Doctorow and Charlie Strauss. And it's pretty entertaining, but I actually really wanted them to savage singularitarianism. I thought it was a little weak in terms of what I was hoping for at the level of satire, but it's an enjoyable book for sure.